Hey everyone, welcome to George's Library. My name is George and today I want to talk about Annihilation by Jeff VanderMeer. Annihilation is one of those books that the first thing you have to do as a reader is to let go. Let go of the need to understand everything. Let go of the expectations that mysteries exist to be solved. And maybe most importantly, let go of the idea that the book is going to meet you halfway. When I started Annihilation, I waited for the moment when things will clarify, where the rules of Area X would become illegible. And slowly, I realized that wasn't the point. The confusion isn't the flaw, it's the experience. The novel follows a group of scientists that enter Area X, a place that defies explanation. But very quickly, it becomes clear that this isn't a story about exploration in the traditional sense. It's about disorientation, psychological, emotional, and even linguistic. What really struck me is how restrained VanderMeer's prose is. The language is calm, almost clinical, even as the world becomes more and more unrecognizable. That contrast creates this low-level, constant unease. Nothing screams for your attention, and yet everything feels wrong. The choice to tell the story from the biologist's perspective is crucial. She's observant, emotionally guarded, and often distant, not just from others, but from herself. And that emotional flatness makes the book even more unsettling. You're not guided on how to feel. You're left alone with the strangeness. One of the things I appreciated the most is how Annihilation treats the idea of knowledge. There's no sense that understanding Area X would give anyone control over it. In fact, the more the characters try to impose meaning, the more inadequate those attempts feel. Science, language, memory, none of them quite work here. And that's where the book starts to feel less like science fiction and more like a meditation on identity. Area X doesn't just change the environment, it destabilizes the people inside it. Boundaries blur. Selfhood becomes porous. You start to question whether the desire to explain something is itself a kind of violence. Reading this, I was reminded of how rare it is to encounter a book that is comfortable with ambiguity. Not as a puzzle, but as a state of being. VanderMeer doesn't ask you to decode symbols or assemble a hidden message. He asks you to sit with uncertainty, even when it's uncomfortable. That said, this is a book I'd highly recommend, although not lightly. If you're looking for clear answers, character-driven drama, or narrative closure, Annihilation might feel frustrating, even but if you're open to atmosphere, to mood, to a story that works more like a dream or a nightmare than a traditional plot, then this is very compelling. By the time I finished it, I didn't feel satisfied in the usual sense. I felt altered, slightly off balance. Like the book had rearranged something and then left without explaining itself. And honestly, I think that's its greatest strength. Annihilation isn't interested in being understood. It's interested in being experienced. And whether the experience fascinates you or unsettles you will probably say more about what you bring to it rather than what's on the page. Let me know what you think in the comments. Meanwhile, stay safe, be kind, and keep on reading. I'll see you next time.